So actually, as the very first part of this video, I did not even realize I had an extra few uniques sitting in one of the stash tabs that I hadn't added yet and hadn't done kind of a summary on. So instead of being at 356, we actually ended up with 361 uniques. So let's go over these real quick and then we'll get into the other parts of the video. We have another body armor, the Coming Calamity. It gives +2 to your socketed Herald gems. It's got a medium amount of energy shield, not great, but some. And then you have a 35% chance to avoid being stunned for each Herald buff affecting you. So with 3 Herald buffs, you would be immune to stun. And your mana reservation of Herald skills is always 45%. So that kind of really limits how many Heralds you can have. That basically caps you at 2 at max, and that would reserve 90% of your mana. The Hungry Loop Unset Ring, it has a socket, which you can obviously see, and it has kind of a very cool effect. So it consumes the socketed, uncorrupted support gems when they reach maximum level. So you purely put a support gem in here to level it. When it hits level 20, it is consumed, and then the Hungry Loop can consume 4 uncorrupted support gems. All right, and I just looked up for a brief second just to be sure I was absolutely correct on what this does. So when it consumes the support gems, basically the support gems get added as a tag that says socketed gems are supported by, and it's a level 20 version of the consumed gem. So for instance, if you level a greater multiple projectiles in here from 19 to 20, it will consume that, and then any gem socketed in the Hungry Loop will be supported by a level 20 greater multiple projectiles. So by doing so, you can basically get a 5-link in your Hungry Loop. The final skill would be your active skill gem, and then it would have the 4 consumed socketed gems as supports. So you can have a 5-link in your Hungry Loop. It takes a while to get there, but it's very, very cool. Brute Force Solution is a Cobalt Jewel. It gives you 20 intelligence, and then any strength in its radius also gets turned into intelligence. Stack up that intellect. Shaper Seed is a fairly low-level amulet. It gives strength and intelligence. It gives you a ton of mana regen. It gives you a very high amount of life regen as well, and then it also grants the same to your nearby allies. And finally, the Jinxed Juju. It's a strength and dex amulet. It also gives intelligence, so it's basically all 3 attributes, and actually the intelligence is quite a bit higher because it's not the implicit that's capped at 24. It also gives chaos res. It gives you increased effect of your curses and increased effect of your non-curse auras from your skills. And then here at the bottom is kind of the big one. 10% of your damage from hits is taken from your Spectre's life before yours. So basically, 10% of those hits, it's going to allow you to be quite a bit more tanky if you're running some minion builds. So yeah, with that, we've ended up at 361 for the league, which is a pretty cool number. Almost got one for every day of the year, but being over 360, first league trying this was not too bad, and now we'll get into the other parts of the video. So the first thing that I wanted to talk about was kind of the good of the league that we experienced in Ritual and the bad. And I want to start with the bad because I want to move on to better things. So let's talk about what didn't quite go as well as I would have hoped in the league, and that is mainly progression. Obviously, this was the first league that I have played from start to finish in hardcore SSF, and it really showed. I've never played hardcore for that long. I learned a lot, but a lot of it came at the cost of constant resets in our progression. The furthest I got was the Earthshatter champion that we played that was level 93.5. It felt incredibly strong. It was doing so well, and then it died to bleed in a tier 16 and never quite got back up to that level by the end of the league. So I actually kind of shockingly to myself, I'm used to playing in Trade League where I'd have pretty much all this done in the first week, the main boss is down, all that stuff. And this is the progression we got to over the course of the entire league. So I believe it was 18 Watchstones. Like, it literally got 18 out of 32. Yeah, 18 Watchstones. Didn't even see Sirius League. Like, that type of stuff just from... It really surprised me, but I guess I really shouldn't have been surprised when every hardcore death kind of reset the progress to a certain extent. So it was kind of disappointing not to get nearly as far as I would have hoped. But I learned a lot, and progression-wise, hoping to push it even further in the future. So talking about the good part of the league, I should probably get in the hideout for that just for reasons. Basically, I'm really happy with where we got in one league with the uniques. If you look through a lot of these, that's pretty solidly good progress. You can see on the unique tracker, over 360 uniques in the league. There were plenty of people that got more than that. That have a little bit more kind of experience in hardcore, but I think this was a really, really good start. We even hit 50% in one of the categories, which is daggers. We got 11 out of the current 22 in the game, but you'll see the majority of these are up somewhere between 20 and like 45%. So we have a really good kind of base amount of uniques, and I was really proud of the progress. We got a couple that were on the rare and nothing super crazy, but the important thing was taking care of a lot of the basic ones. And when it comes to things like the 5-to-1 unique recipe, or putting together some of the weirder vendor recipes, lore weave, things like that, we've got 2 unique tabs that this one was starting to fill up quite a bit. You'll see some numbers here. Everything in here is also in there. I would only put something in here if it was already in the first tab. And even with all this stuff, I mean, we have so many tabulas, so many clay shapers. I think I got something like double-digit heat shivers, which was just a random one we seemed to find a ton of, and then a lot of the rings toward lore weave. So overall, in terms of the actual progress of the main goal of the challenge, I'm really happy with where we got in one league, especially with it being, like I've said 100 times, the first league doing hardcore. I'm pretty happy with that progress. So yeah. Now, with the progression discussion out of the way, that brings me to the main point of this video. And you may be wondering why this is so short compared to the normal uniquely hardcore episodes. And the reason is that, unfortunately, for the time being, this is going to be the only league in which we've undertaken this challenge. Starting in Ultimatum League in 3.14, we will not be pursuing the uniquely hardcore challenge at the present time, and the reason for that is purely based on the game performance. You're going to see a couple of clips here from the last few days, actually, but this has been a consistent thing throughout this league, which is, I built my computer for streaming. It's a decently powerful machine. It does what it needs to do. It never had any issues before this league. All my settings are on low. You can even see I've pretty much turned down every graphical setting you can just for performance reasons. I've gone in and disabled a lot of the sound options to try and improve performance. And even with all that happening, there was just so many drops in frames that it just made playing hardcore just completely unviable. You'll see a couple of clips here where on stream a couple of days ago, I was going through the blood aqueducts. And basically what you need to know in this clip is there's, again, all the graphical settings are on low. Most sound is disabled. I'm playing Bane, which is a build that does not have projectiles or minions or anything crazy on the screen, no visual effects, not even anything that sticks around. It disappears as soon as you use it. I was in Blood Aqueducts, not in a map, so it wasn't juiced. It was actually campaign level mob density. And as you can see, we ran into a pack of white mobs and 1 rare mob. I believe we counted afterward. I think it was like 9 total enemies, and even with that, we froze for a second or two, and that was a very common occurrence throughout the league. I lost one or two characters to just specifically lag or frame issues, and in the next clip, you'll see I caught the end of this was off stream as I was going through and doing later on in Act 9, doing the Basilisk side quest, or, well, I guess it's not a side quest, the part of the Basilisk quest to get the acid, and we had a frame drop right as he was preparing for his I think it was the stone gaze thing that petrifies you. The frames dropped again, and I died because it was an enemy. I finally froze in front of an enemy that dealt high enough damage that by the time I went to recover, I was dead on the ground. And so for that reason, it's just, again, it makes hardcore, basically not possible to play consistently, at least for me in my situation at the time. Empyrean just put out a video today actually showing, kind of testing out some frame issues, and it's just a problem right now due to the number of items that are on the ground and a lot of other factors. So for now, we're going to be putting the challenge on hold, not totally, you know, getting rid of it completely, but until it's viable to play hardcore without consistent performance issues, it's just not something that I want to invest a ton of time into when it can be taken away a lot of that progression from something completely out of my control. So that is kind of the unfortunate reality, but hopefully we can get back to the challenge sometime soon, and we'll have a lot of other stuff content-wise that we'll be doing in the meantime. So with all that being said, I'm actually going to end the video right there. There's really not a whole lot more to say on the performance and the progression, other than me basically sorting my stash tabs once the league ends. And I want to end this early to get working on the next thing, which is an update to the video Vortex guide. I'm hoping to have a new video guide out for 3.14. There's a decent amount of changes, so stay tuned for that if you are a Vortex player. And either way, I will be putting a lot more stuff out in Ultimatum League as we play through the new content. So I really appreciate everyone who's been watching and following the series. I feel bad that it's kind of being put on hold like this, but again, it's much better to have it, you know, start up again when the performance is better, as opposed to constantly having that progression reset. So yeah, that's going to be it. I've been Shaq Central, and I will see you guys in the next one.